Welcome to Nugget 274 with Steve and Dana Groman, and we will be talking about Ancient Bristlecone Pines located in Great Basin National Park. In Nugget 273, we introduced you to this very remote but very thrilling and worthwhile park. In Nuggets 271, we started talking about the Ancient Bristlecone Pine and visited Cedar Breaks National Monument in Utah. As I mentioned, the reason that we originally went to Great Basin National Park was to see the Ancient Bristlecone Pines. According to this book that I introduced to you in the last nugget, it says, the bristlecone pines form the rear guard of a Pleistocene forest that once covered much of the region. Now surviving in scattered stands, some trees are 3,000 years old, alive when Tutankhamun ruled Egypt. Well, we know it isn't part of the Pleistocene forest. It's a part of the growth started up after Noah's flood, and that's what makes these trees so incredible. At the far end of the Bristlecone Glacier Trail is the glacier, and we covered that in the last nugget. But before reaching the glacier, you will stop at the Bristlecone Forest Loop, and it's a self-guided nature trail that passes ancient trees with twisted trunks carved and polished by wind-driven snow and ice. Nearby, a tree called Prometheus lived for almost 5,000 years until it was cut down in 1964, and that's what I want to focus on today is Prometheus. It was in 1964 that a graduate research student cut down a bristlecone pine on Wheeler Peak. It was then discovered the tree was around 4,900 years old. He didn't realize what he had done. He had cut down the oldest living thing on Earth. The Prometheus story. Bristlecone pines can live to be over 5,000 years old and are thought to be the oldest individual living things in the world. Isn't that interesting? Notice the date. Bristlecone pines are said to be the oldest known living trees. They have many tricks that help them survive, like growing in twisted shapes at high altitude, and if you want to learn more about them, I do encourage you to do that. They are very awesome. In the summer of 1964, a geographer by the name of Donald R. Curry was doing research on Ice Age glaciology on the moraines of Wheeler Peak. He was granted permission by the United States Forest Service to take core samples from numerous bristlecone pines growing in a grove beneath Wheeler Peak so he could try to find the age of the glacial features those trees were growing on top of. Curry was studying the different widths of the rings inside these bristlecone pines, which were believed to be over 4,000 years old, to determine patterns of good and bad growing seasons in the past. Because of their old age, these trees act as climactic vaults, storing thousands of years of weather data within their rings. This method of research is valuable to the study of climate change. Curry found a tree in this grove he believed to be well over 4,000 years old. This tree was known by local mountaineers as Prometheus. There are several accounts of how Prometheus met its end. Some say Curry's increment borer, the tool used to take core samples, broke off in the tree. Others say he did not know how to core such a large tree or that the borer was too short. Yet others say Curry felt he needed a full cross-section to better examine the rings of the tree. We may never know the true story of what happened to Prometheus, but we do know one thing for certain. Curry had permission from the Forest Service to have the tree cut down. So sad, isn't it? Counting the rings later revealed that Prometheus contained 4,862 growth rings. Due to the harsh conditions these trees grow in, it is likely that a growth ring did not form every year. Therefore, Prometheus was estimated to be 4,900 years old, the oldest known tree of its time. It could be older, it could be younger. It doesn't mean that it is exact. It certainly is close. At the time, Prometheus was the oldest tree ever dated, the runner-up being a bristlecone pine in the White Mountains of California, and that's where we will be going in the next nuggets. It was only 4,847 years old. It wasn't until 2012 that an older tree was found. Another bristlecone in the same area proved to be 5,065 years old. There's a good chance there are older bristlecone pines that have not yet been dated, and that is true. A stump of Prometheus is all that remains of the ancient tree within the grove. If you would like to travel through history by counting the rings of Prometheus, you can do so at the Great Basin Visitor Center. And there are 3 other places that you can see a slab or a cross-section of Prometheus. At the Bristlecone Convention Center on 5th Street in Ely, at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and at the University of Arizona. And when we go and talk about the ancient bristlecones in California, I'll explain why there is a slab at the University of Arizona. One other really neat thing that happened in the Great Basin, because this place is full of all kinds of surprises, I guess is is the best way to put it, but it's called the Forgotten Winchester. It is a Winchester model 1873 rifle that archaeologists discovered in 2014 leaning against a juniper tree in the Great Basin National Park. The gun was manufactured in 1882, but nothing is known of its abandonment. The bottom of the stock was buried in 4 to 5 inches of accumulated soil and vegetation. Prior to the rifle's discovery, the National Park Service had started a $280,000 fuels reduction project around Strawberry Creek Campground to prevent campfires from sparking wildfires in the surrounding forest. As part of the project, the Park Service sent staff from their Cultural Resources Office to search the project area for artifacts, which is when archaeologist Eva Jensen found the rifle leaning against a tree above the campground. And what's fabulous about her find is that the discovery was fortunate because less than 2 years later, the strawberry fire swept through the area and consumed the juniper tree the rifle had been leaning against. The rifle is on permanent display in the Lehman Caves Visitor Center at Great Basin National Park, along with its bullet. It had a bullet in a secret compartment. So you will want to stop at both visitor centers, one to see the slab and one to see the Forgotten Winchester. These trees are truly amazing. I believe that every creationist should have visiting an ancient bristlecone grove on their bucket list. Next week, we'll head out to the Sierra Nevadas and the Ancient Bristlecone Pines there in the White Mountains. If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Thank you.